She said to me, I have a strong feeling, this heaviness of unworthiness. Some days I feel better than others, but my whole life I've been so focused on trying to be good enough that I can't seem to focus on anything else in my life. My client was feeling worthless no matter how successful she was in her life. So when we are born, when we're babies, we don't think to ourselves that I am not worthy of not being fed, loved, or cared for. But as we grow up, we don't treat ourselves with the same expectations of deservedness as when we were born. Something was said, something was done, or witnessed that made us think, now I have to do something and act in a certain way in order to receive the love and acceptance that we all crave as human beings. Welcome back to Thriving Woman. In case you're new here, I am a trained psychotherapist and coach for women and help them heal, grow, and thrive in all areas of life. We do this by removing all suffering and instead create a free, fulfilling, and abundant life. So one of the most precious commodities we have in our identity is the way we see ourselves and the way we assess our self-worth. And when this identity is skewed by other people's opinions of us, we suffer a great deal in all areas of our life, not just specific areas, but all. Because the truth is, you've been looking for love in all the wrong places. When you're interacting with others, it's logical that you are aware of them, right? And want them to be aware of you. The problem is that you're watching other people for their responses to you, and then you try to adjust yourself and your life based on their response. Because that's where your self-worth has come from for as far as you can remember. And this is where really a lot of suffering starts from and has continued in probably your entire life. So self-worth is the realization that you are a good person and deserve love and respect from yourself regardless of what others can give you, tell you, or show you. And once you've realized your own potential and self-worth, then you're able to course correct in relationships, in your career, whatever it is, your entire life, and know that what behaviors are acceptable to you and what's not acceptable, and communicate that to people. Remember, what you're looking for does not exist outside of yourself. Okay, so let's look at it through an example. When you feel guilty about a decision, you're probably looking at it through the lens of someone else, not the inner knowing that you are making the right decision for yourself. So what can you do to kind of make yourself feel better about the decision? One, identify what feels good to you, and then identify what doesn't feel good to you. Okay? After you've identified that, then you can change the narrative of guilt and realize that this is a healthy decision for you, not for other people. When we're growing up, we are looking for other people to make us feel worthy of their love and their validation. And this continues into adulthood and leads to many issues such as depression, anxiety, substance use, and just that sense of emptiness. Because when we look to others to fulfill our needs, it's hard because a lot of these people don't have within them what we need. And no one is at fault for this. It's just a cycle that has continued. So here's some of the reasons why my clients have reported feeling empty and worthless. One, they have lost touch with who they are, what they want, and who they want to be. Or they're hyper focused on one thing, like their job, their careers. or they've sacrificed their own happiness in order to receive validation from others. They may have some friends or a lot of people in their lives that they associate with. However, they lack that intimacy, that meaningful connection, that relationship where they can turn to someone and share personal information with. Some, they're still holding on to the events of the past, the failures, the losses, the relationships they lost, the jobs they lost, and they don't know how it feels to live without the fears of the past. Or the client often feels like they don't have dreams of their own. They feel like they don't have the right to have dreams because everyone else has told them what to do so far in life. All these things are an essential part of feeling whole, and if any of these are lacking, we are going to suffer, right? Because our mind is so powerful that it can make or break things, and when we're not dealing with our thoughts and emotions in an appropriate way, then we're going to continue to run into emotional and mental blocks. Because at the end of the day, the only person that can make you feel worthy is yourself. And the way to do this is to take your time, look within, learn how to recreate the vision of yourself and your life and rebuild your self-worth. You owe it to yourself to feel great. You owe it to yourself to feel loved from within. You owe it to yourself to live a life with freedom, joy, and love. You owe it to yourself to raise your standards and your own personal values and live, and do whatever the hell you wish to do. So one of the most really common mistakes that people make when it comes to self-esteem and self-worth is that they often rely on outside relationships, especially romantic relationships, to make them feel worthy. So if you're interested in learning about how lack of worthiness manifests in romantic relationships, comment below or send me a message and I will make a video about that, as I know a huge part of our lives are relationships. So here's a takeaway that you can start working on today, actually. So work on identifying, challenging, and externalizing your critical inner voice, that self-talk. We all have that inner voice that criticizes us and loves to nitpick on all of our flaws. It's very common to let this inner critic get the best of us sometimes. But if we let her win, that person that's inside, then she is going to continue to destroy us. Whenever you notice your inner critic, start to fire up with the criticism. Basically make it pause and ask yourself whether this criticism is based on fact, whether it's being kind or not, and whether you're telling yourself something that you actually need to know or if it's just an old story. If it's based on old stories, feel free to tell yourself to butt out. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, challenge yourself. Challenge those inner narratives, because a lot of times those inner narratives are unconscious and they don't belong to you. So I have a couple of self-worth exercises you can do at home that I'd be more than happy to email you. So feel free to use the link below to request the worksheet. I didn't want to make this video really long and share that. So when you're aligned with who you are, you're aligned with the energy of love. More importantly, self-love. Remember, love and worthiness are the same energies. Don't forget to subscribe and share so we can help others heal as well. And as always, don't forget to be kind to yourself,